Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel. This is my review for Mulan, which came out in 1998 and is the 9th movie in the ever-declining Disney Renaissance. Like I said before, the first 5 movies had a pretty good run, but the last 3 have been ultimately lackluster. But anyway, this movie is about Mulan, who is the only daughter of the Fa family. The Huns are about to invade China, so the Emperor of China ends up drafting one man from each household, whether it be a son or whoever the man of the house is, to fight. But unfortunately, because Mulan is an only child, and the only man in her family is her father, he's the one who gets drafted, but he is too weak to fight. So in an effort to try to save her father, Mulan takes his armor, tries to pass as a man in the Imperial Army so she can try to go off and fight the Huns while her father basically doesn't, so he doesn't have to kill himself during battle. So if you remember back in the unholy year of 2020, I reviewed the live-action remake of this movie, which had some decent moments, but on a whole, you can see my review for the movie right here, and my opinions for it really haven't changed. But after I watched the remake, I decided to hop on right over to the animated movie from 1998. So unlike Pocahontas, Hunchback, and Hercules, this movie is still pretty fresh in my mind. And of course, I had to rewatch the movie this year so I can prepare for this review and just get a refresher. When I watched it last year, I thought, you know, it's a pretty decent animated movie. It's not one of my favorites, but it's certainly a lot of fun. And then when I watched it again this year, after getting full context of the history of Disney animation, I found it to be much better than I remember. Because after 3 underwhelming animated movies that are, in my opinion, mediocre at best, Mulan is that adrenaline shot that the Renaissance clearly and desperately needed. There's a lot to really like about this movie, and it does a lot that's still within formula of the Disney Renaissance, but it does it in ways to where it kind of feels fresh. It's still got the sidekick character, voiced by a legendary comedic actor. It's still got the songs, but they feel a little more genuine than they did in the last 3 movies. Let's talk about the comic relief first of all. Mushu, voiced by Eddie Murphy. He's still very much in line with some of the other iconic comedic characters from this era of Disney. And similar to the genie and Phil from Hercules, he has his own side story that comes to a happy ending. He was once a guardian of the Fa family, but he did something to really tick off the ancestors, so he pretty much got demoted. So he's on this journey to not only help Mulan, in fact, his main reason is to try to be reinstated as a guardian. He's got some funny moments here and there, even if at the end of the day, he's pretty much Eddie Murphy as a dragon, but at the same time, he can kind of feel somewhat out of place. Because the movie has mostly a straightforward action tone to it, Mushu's comedy does feel a little forced. It doesn't feel as organic as when he played Donkey in Shrek 3 years later. Because if you watch Shrek, and I've said this before, especially when talking about Aladdin, that movie has very much a more lighthearted sense of humor. So Eddie Murphy works better as Donkey in that movie than he does as Mushu in this movie. And then as for the songs, this movie isn't really that much of a musical, because all of the previous movies in this era, with the exception of The Great Mouse Detective, were treated as big Broadway musicals, especially Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. And for those 3 movies and The Lion King, they worked. But with Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and Hercules, I didn't really see a reason for them to be musicals. With this movie, you could make an argument that it didn't need to be a musical, but the songs are actually really good. They're not done by Alan Menken this time. In fact, he didn't even score the film. The score is done by the legendary Jerry Goldsmith, and it's a pretty great score. But because Alan Menken is not doing the songs, they have a different flavor to them. They're very far and few in between. In fact, when you get to the halfway point of the movie just abandons the songs altogether. But the songs in this movie are actually pretty good, with the 2 highlights being Reflection and I'll Make a Man Out of You, which when you hear the opening of that song, you are just pumped, and it gets you excited to kick some ass and just work out in the same way Gonna Fly Now and Eye of the Tiger from the Rocky movies do. Let's get down to business to defeat The Huns, did they send me daughters when I asked for sons? Okay, I'll stop that right now, but it's an amazing song. Now, as for the rest of the movie, your main character is Mulan, and here she's voiced by Ming-Na Wen in her first in what I'm going to call her Disney EGOT collection. Now, I consider the Disney EGOT to be Disney Animation, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars. And so far, Ming-Na Wen has been in 3 of those 4 categories. Mulan was her first major role within Disney. Then when it comes to Marvel, she played Agent Melinda May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and now in Star Wars, she's Fennec Shand from The Mandalorian and most recently The Bad Batch. But getting back to Mulan, for me, I find this character to probably be one of, if not the most influential female character for Disney animation, or at least the most inspiring. Because while I like a majority of the Disney princesses in the past, some of them definitely have their problems, whether they're not the most interesting characters out there, or whether they come across as not terribly great role models like Ariel. Again, I still like Ariel, but maybe she's not 100% the best role model for girls out there. Mulan is that excellent role model, and funny enough, they keep marketing Mulan as a Disney princess, but she's not. Her family is not all that special, and she doesn't end up falling for a prince at the end of the day. In fact, the person that she falls for is not even really a romance. It's with Captain Li Shang, voiced by B.D. Wong, and it's just more of a mutual respect. At the very end of the movie, they do imply that there is sort of a romance between the two of them, like they're interested in each other, but it's not really explored, and I appreciate that. But I really admire how tough Mulan is and how caring she is as well. She's going out to fight in this war to try to save her father from going out there himself, but she has a problem in the sense that she kind of brings dishonor to her family, and by doing this very action, she would possibly shame her family forever. But she thinks it's the right thing to do, and she's not willing to give up. One of the biggest scenes in the movie that's truly a testament to how tough and dedicated Mulan is when Captain Shang tells her to pack up, go home, she's through. But anyway, as she's about to leave, she looks at the arrow that's on that pillar, and she tries one more time to try to climb up there and get it. And not only does she succeed, but she earns the respect from all of the other soldiers in training because they were making fun of her and just antagonizing her up until this point. And then she is a very well-respected member of the Imperial Army and the hero of the day. And she does all of that without any supernatural powers. I have no idea why that decision was made for the live-action version, because really all Mulan needs in this movie is pure dedication and strength, and she's got it. And I enjoyed the rest of the side characters. I already mentioned Li Shang, voiced by B.D. Wong, and how there's not really a romance between him and Mulan. You also have the 3 soldiers that end up being Mulan's friends in the Imperial Army, Lin, Qianpo, and Yao, voiced by Harvey Fierstein. The ever-immortal James Hong voices the Emperor's messenger, and he's fun just in the fact that he's supposed to report everything to the Emperor in terms of how the army is progressing, but really he's just a snitch and nobody likes him. And then you also have Pat Morita as the Emperor of China and George Takei as the first ancestor, which I find odd because they're playing Chinese characters, but they're Japanese actors. But then again, we have Eddie Murphy voicing a Chinese dragon, and we have several white people voicing characters like Harvey Fierstein. So I guess I really shouldn't be complaining about that. But to bring things back home to Mulan, after 3 Disney animated movies that just left me underwhelmed, even if I loved 2 of them as a kid, this one still holds up. The songs are really good, the score is great, the characters are a lot of fun. It's a very fun action movie, and since we're coming to the end of the Disney Renaissance, it's certainly a great movie to be at the tail end. So in that sense, I'd say it's worth seeing in your lifetime. I don't love this movie 100%, but it's still great regardless. And I'm really happy that this is one of those Disney animated movies that holds up to this day. And there you go, that's my review for Mulan. Now next week we are at the end of the Disney Renaissance. At long last, we will be talking about Tarzan, which is a movie that's often regarded as one of the best of the era, but I haven't seen it since it came out in 1999. So once again, I'm excited to see if my opinion stays the same or if it's changed. But now I want to know what you guys think about Mulan. If you've seen it, what did you think? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one. Hello everyone, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching my review for Mulan. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, go check out my Twitch channel, and support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.